Today I'm going to take a look at a game where we're going to be gods and we're going to be influencing villagers to pay tribute to us. And they're going to pay us in pineapples. Today I'm taking a look at an abstract two-player game with a island theme. Today I'm taking a look at Tiki.
It's time for another Dice Tower review with Robert Geistlinger.
So here we're taking a look at Tiki. This is a two-player abstract game where each player is taking on the role of a god on this particular island and trying to influence the villagers to give them offerings. Offerings coming in the form of the succulent fruit that grows there, the pineapple. Quick note here, for those who don't know, I'm actually allergic to pineapple. Luckily, it's not real. On a player's turn, they're going to be doing one of two things. They're either going to be creating a new totem out into an empty village, or they're going to be moving a totem from an existing village into another, and we'll show that here in a minute. Each of the villages are randomly set up here, and they have different values on them for this particular setup. You'll notice over here I have this little shaman. He's not used in the basic game, but I will explain him in a moment. On each of these, you have zeros, which do nothing other than removing totems. You've got negative ones, which will cause fruit to spoil, and then you have ones and twos, which will allow players to collect the fruit. The first player who gains 4 of the fruit is going to be the winner. So let's say that the yellow player here decided to start by placing a totem here. Now that's going to be their turn. So maybe the purple player decides to grab one of his and place it here. So now the yellow player decides she's going to place one here. Then the purple decides instead they're going to move. So what they can do is they can move in any direction except diagonal, even on top. Once totems are stacked like this, whoever's on the top is going to be the person who controls. So now that the purple player has moved and it comes back to the yellow cannot move this one. However, what the yellow could do is move on top like this, completing the totem. But for right now, what we're going to say is that they decide to place here. Now, we're going to say that the purple player decides to move. Because there's 2, this means it's going to move 2 spaces, leaving 1 behind. So maybe they go 1 and then 2. Now it comes back to the yellow player, and the yellow player decides to move this one. Yeah, that would be terrible. So let's say the yellow player decides to place there instead. Now the purple player decides to go ahead and move, and they go 1, 2. That completes this totem. Once a totem is complete, the villagers pay their respects. Well, in this case, it's a 0, so what's going to happen is these totems would come off, and if there was any number here, they would have gained those fruit, but all they did was lose these. So pretty good move for that. Additionally, let's say that it had ended like this, where we have 1, 2, and 3, so we're good to go. Yellow controls it. Doesn't matter who ended it, yellow controls it. This is a -1. Now, if yellow player had any fruit in their current winnings, they would spoil one of them by flipping it over, and these would come off. If, however, they had none, then these would still come off. However, one in the supply instead would spoil. Players are going to go back and forth like this until somebody has 4 of the fruits in their supply. If at any point there is a tie, meaning each player has, let's say, 3 and 1 had spoiled, then you'll simply break the tie by flipping this over and continue playing until somebody has 4. Now I mentioned the shaman over here. The shaman is played with this side of the zeros. And what happens is whenever somebody controls a tiki, a totem that is currently being resolved, and the shaman is the thing, they move their things off, and then they take the shaman and they move it between 2 particular villages. By doing this, this means that path is now blocked. And then later, if this one here was resolved, they'd pull off again, and they could move this to somewhere else. Additionally, since this is the Kickstarter version I have here, you'll notice I use these to show you. I'm going to show you real quick here. The Kickstarter version came with these actual pineapple pieces that are nice and hefty. It came with some additional tiles that give another variant, and it came with this little guy here that also is another variant. But as far as I know, these will not be in the retail version, and this may actually be a if I can find it here, may actually be this standee instead. But again, first player to 4 pineapples is the winner. So that's a look at Tiki. Now, this is an abstract game, but this is quite the little thematic abstract game. I found as I played this game, I really got into it, and I love the production quality on it as well. Those little Tiki figures are absolutely beautiful, and they really do just add this extra oomph that the game didn't really need. Honestly, even without the theme, this game could have still been a fun little puzzle to solve, especially since this is a quick playing 2-player game where you really do need to gauge what your opponent's doing. I like the way I can move something and I have to stack it, and that could lead my opponent to doing something that I didn't even notice they were about to do. And I found a lot of games early on when I was playing, I often had to ask my opponent, wait, let me go back and redo that real quick, because I didn't realize I was just giving them a win. Maybe think something like a Connect 4 or a tic-tac-toe. But this just feels really satisfying to play for me. And no matter how many times I play it, I feel like I don't play the same puzzle, especially since you have those random elements to the board and the way it's set up, and just playing with different players, it feels different each time. So this is quick. It's quick to play. You only can do 2 things on your turn. You move or place. Add in that shaman, which really I wish I'd played with it right from the beginning, because it really allows me to add this extra depth of strategy to blocking my opponent from moving. So now I can move into a place, and maybe that normally in a normal game would have given them the ability to take a win from me, but now they can't. And I like that the game can't end in a tie. That's always nice. I'm not a big fan of games that have that whole if you tie, share in the victory thing. So I really did enjoy that. But overall, what I really found is a beautiful, surprisingly thematic 2-player abstract game. Sets up quickly, plays quickly. You can play multiple games of it within a single night. Maybe you use it to start your night. Maybe you play it in between games. Maybe you end your night. Maybe you play it before dinner. But just something that is lightweight enough to teach to anyone, but just enough strategy that I'm not sure I'm ever really going to master this game. So if you're looking for something light, slightly thematic, more so than I would expect out of an abstract game, and with a really beautiful theme on it, go ahead and check out Tiki. I hope you've enjoyed this look at Tiki and it's helped you decide if it might be right for you. And I look forward to seeing you folks next time.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.